Hey, if you didn't know, racism is defined as prejudice against a person based upon their race or ethnic group. And racism is very much a problem to this day. So since we're on the subject, here's the top 10 most racist states in America right now. At number 10, you got Maryland, and it's one of the least systematic racist states in the nation, and they have the 12th lowest income gap by race. And despite them being called the Free State, they were one of the last to outlaw slavery in November of 1864. 16.95 of Twitter accounts used hateful or derogatory language when discussing race. The dark history of racism is very much prevalent there. At number 9, you got West Virginia, and there's many people that don't even want to visit there because they have a reputation for being one of the racist states in the nation. But although it's not, a vast majority of the population there is white, and there's some parts that never even seen a person of color before. At number 8, you got Arkansas, and 16.83% of tweets discussing race did so in a hateful way, which should come to no surprise considering the natural state is home of one of the largest number of hate groups per capita. Many older residents are proud of their hateful ways and have no shame. At number 7, you got Kansas, and without a doubt, systematic racism is still prevalent there. The income gap by race and racial integration is off the chains there. In some parts of the state, it's like there's a literal line separating the white, black, and Latino communities. At number 6, you got Wisconsin, which is the worst state in the nation when it comes to racial integration. There were 74 hate crimes committed in 2021 thus far. And besides dairy, drinking, and the Packers, most Wisconsinites don't know much about the state, but now you do. At number 5, you got Hawaii, and they have hardly any systematic racism there, just ignorance. Due to the popularity of rap music and the lack of heavy black culture there, you'll hear the N-word a lot, but not from racists. They just say it to say it and will never understand the severity of that word. At number 4, you got Mississippi, and the percentage of tweets mentioning race in a hateful way is 18.54%. They're also considered the blackest state in the nation, and racism is very much still prevalent there between the young and old. At number 3, you got Maine, and besides Portland, most Mainers have never seen a non-white person, except for on TV. They got a lot of Confederate flags there too, even though they're one of the farthest states from the Confederacy. Their ignorance seems to be the basis for most racism there. At number 2, you got South Dakota, where they have the second worst employment gap by race, along with the worst income gap and the third most segregated state in terms of workplace, schools, and voting place. It's no surprise that 20% of the tweets discussing race were derogatory, especially towards Native Americans. And the most racist state in the nation right now is Delaware, where 21.4% of users tweeting about race did so in a hateful and derogatory way. In contrast, though, Vermont is the least most racist state. At least Delaware, being one of the smallest states, can be number 1 in something, but it ain't nothing to brag about. Racism in itself is shameful, but if you have a fixed dislike or hate towards anybody based solely upon the color of their skin, then you're racist.